Everyone. Let's see. I am live. Good morning, everybody. It is on at my mom and dad's house, in fact, and we are driving from Arizona. Okay, we're back again. Sorry, everybody, and we're trying to figure out connectivity issues. I thought the Wi-Fi here was going to be good enough, but it's not. And so, listen, here we go. We are traveling. My family and I are driving this time from Arizona to South Carolina. My son is getting married on Saturday. He's graduating from Naval Nuclear Power School on Friday. So I guess that's provided he passes his comprehensive exam today, which I'm sure he will. Anyhow, I will. I just want to give you a little bit of update of how to travel across interstate lines with a firearm. It's really not that hard. People get scared of it all the time, but it's really not a big deal. Rainier Mayer said, "Greetings from the Netherlands. Greetings to you as well." So, if you want to travel, there's a couple of different ways here. It really depends on if you are driving. Um, if you're driving, just driving A to B, and you put that firearm in a locked container, especially if you put it in your trunk, then pretty much under United States Code 926A, you can travel across state lines with a firearm. That code basically says if you go from a place you can legally own a firearm and you're traveling straight through to another place, you can legally own that firearm and possess it. Then even if you couldn't legally own and possess it in the states you go through, you're okay as long as you don't stop and you're just buzzing right through. So that's uh, really a big deal for the most part. You can travel across the country. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about going instead with a concealed firearm. So I am wearing my EDC today, just like I do every day. So I have an Arizona resident permit, have since '06, and that's the only permit that I have. I really need to get my Utah non-res because that'll add a couple of states. But my Arizona permit is good in 38 states. And so when we mapped out our route, we were basically driving Highway 20 most of the way out. We drove from Phoenix last night to Las Cruces, New Mexico today, just outside of El Paso, and then we'll drive from here to Dallas today. From Dallas to Alabama tomorrow. From Alabama to Charleston on Thursday, and then see my son graduate from nuclear power school at the Goose Creek Naval Station on Friday morning, and then go up to Myrtle Beach for his wedding on Friday night, and then actually do the wedding on Saturday. Anyways, so we will be traveling through Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. Let's see, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina. So, how do I know all of those are good? That all of those that I can carry my firearm in all of those states. Well, you're responsible to know that. You can say, "Hey, man, I have a permit and I'm just going to take my chances." But I don't like that. I don't like carrying illegally. I only like carrying my firearm when I am legally allowed to do so. So in South Carolina, Hitman Hardy asked where in South Carolina. I said we're going to be in Charleston, and then we're going to be in Myrtle Beach. What about Bob? Said congrats to your son on graduating and getting married. Thank you. He's a great dude. So first things you got to ask is where is your permit good? And a couple ways. First of all, my favorite app to figure this out. Favorite app is the My FLP app. And yes, again, full disclosure, Firearms Legal Protection is a sponsor of Active Self Protection. We have them on the main channel and the extra channel. And I got to say, one of my favorite benefits for being an FLP member is they have a killer app. The app is fantastic, and you put in what permits you have. It tell if you got a resident or non-resident of various states, and it'll tell you here's all the states where your permit is valid, and it gives you just a map, and you can see okay, so here's all the places my um, permit is valid in and you can click on each state, see their laws, see the individual places you can and can't carry. Do you have to inform officers? Are you allowed to carry in restaurants that serve alcohol? What other places are off limits? All those things are right there. Brett Koss asked, what was the app called? It is called My FLP, Firearms Legal Protection. That is available to all FLP members. And I think it's one of the really good side benefits of being an FLP member is that Firearms Legal Protection offers that app just as part of their benefit package. And I think that's really valuable. They update it all the time. Super valuable to look at. In fact, I looked at it again this morning because I'm going to be driving through Texas and I just wanted to make sure that everything I was doing was okay. Texas is pretty good in firearms laws. Somehow they get this mystique they're the best. They're not. Arizona firearms laws are way better than Texas, but they're not bad. But what if you don't have that? If you don't have firearms legal protection, and I get it. I mean, they're a sponsor, and I do think you should sign up for them, and that's why we chose them as a sponsor out of multiple suitors. Um, and let's see. Oh, Shelly said that she just heard I was coming through Georgia. And when you coming through? We'll be coming through Georgia on Thursday, Shell. Maybe we should stop by and say hi. That might be fun. Anyways, if you don't have the My Firearms legal protection app, what you can do is my favorite website for this. So get a pen out. I didn't put it in the description because I'm a doofus. Is handgunlaw.us. If you go to www, actually, you don't even need a triple W's. Handgunlaw, all one word, .us, you get a map of the country and you can click any of that state and figure out, okay, so here's everywhere that state is all that stuff. Hitman Hardy asked, he said, I'm in Charleston. We make yourself available for meet and greet. Man, it's going to be a kind of a rough schedule because of my son's graduation and all that stuff. I'm not sure. How about keep up with me? Um, uh, I tell you what, Hitman Hardy, send me an email, john@activeselfprotection.com, and we'll talk about it. Okay. I can't promise anything, but maybe we can, shake hands and say hi and take a selfie or something. I don't know. I'd love to say hi if I can, but the schedule could get kind of wonky. You know how the Navy is. Well, you may not know how the Navy is. I know how the Navy is. We got to play everything by ear. So anyhow, if you go to handgunlaw.us, you can check every state, what states are they have reciprocity with, what their laws are, what the deadly force law is. So even if you don't have the MyFLP app, the handgunlaw.us website is a fantastic resource, and you just click on the state on the map. It's interactive, and it'll give you everything you need in PDF form. So um, basically, what I'm doing is, again, every state that I'm traveling through, my CCW is valid. So my CCW in Arizona, it's a resident permit, is valid, of course, in Arizona. It's valid in New Mexico, valid in Texas, valid in Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, um, and South Carolina. And so I'm just going to carry. I got, again, I'm rocking that appendix carry, Benvolio right there, doing his thing. And crazy thing, people are asking, wait a minute, um, how do you sit down with appendix carry? It's pretty easy, man. You aim your butt at the chair and you bend your knees. Sat in the car and drove for 7 hours yesterday and didn't have any problems. So traveling across the country, COD Industry asked, why am I doing this? It's because my son is getting married in South Carolina, and we're taking a whole family out with us, 6 people out to go see him get married and graduate from nuclear power school. And the best way to do that was with a road trip. So Gustavo Diaz asked, what do you do when you enter a state that doesn't recognize your permit? Well, I said earlier you must have joined a little bit later, that under U.S. Code, USC 926A, you can, the interstate travel with firearms. Tony Catalano said in the Mustang, actually not, the Mustang's at home. I'm driving my wife's Fiat and she's driving our minivan. Um, under U.S. Code 926A, if you are going from a place that you can legally possess a firearm to a place that you can legally possess a firearm, you may travel through a place that you may not have that, as long as it's in a locked container. So I always recommend a locked container. I'm actually flying home. So after the wedding, I'm doing Sunday. What about Bob asked, what holster are you using today? I am using a Keepers concealment keeper for my P30. And we are so I keep a locking box so that I can fly home with it, so because it has to go through check luggage there. But if you get to a state where you're not going to be able to, just pull over right before you get in the state. In the state where you can't possess, take the gun off, unload it, put it in the container, lock the container, put it in the trunk, and you can transport it across that next state line, no problem. And that's perfectly legal. We've had cases where people have gotten harassed, especially in places like New Jersey, but usually because they didn't follow US 926A, if it was in the glove box or on your person or something, that could be a whole different issue. So make sure you follow the laws, make sure you do that all safely and well. Traveling interstate with firearms is really no big deal, but you got to know the law to do it and do it safely. So we're going to do that. Next stop, Dallas. We're going to be driving through El Paso and then through cattle country. Um, Sebastian Holmes asked, does the trunk of a car qualify as a lock container, or do you need a small safe? If the trunk is secure, in other words, if the trunk you can't get into from the passenger compartment, then you can consider that, I believe, a safe container. If not, like my wife's Fiat's a hatchback, it has to be in a locked container outside of that. All right, guys, that's what I have for you today. Hope you're safe and good, and maybe we'll check in a couple of days and see how the trip is going. Talk to you later, guys.